Could I start by thanking all the Fianna Fáil senators, in particular Senator O'Loughlin and Senator Casey, for bringing forward this very important private members' motion tonight, and it's to be very welcomed. The extension, Lascaheirlock, of the short hop zone to Newbridge train station in my own county of Kildare is an issue that I and Labour Party colleagues in Newbridge and South Kildare have been working on for some time. The campaign has included all the rail stations in this particular part of the state. Indeed, as part of our campaign, A Fair Deal for South Kildare Commuters, I, along with members of the Newbridge branch of the Labour Party, met with Anne Graham, CEO of the NTA, in 2018 to hand over 7,000 signatures from the campaign that we run and that we're continuing to run, Cathaoirleach. At that meeting and in numerous correspondence since, we've been told that the NTA are the ones responsible for setting fares. Indeed, every correspondence from the government has stated that, but in the absence of appropriate government funding to fund any fare reduction, we are continually told that the hands of the NTA are tied. That argument was also used with my colleague, it's already been referenced here tonight, my colleague Seán Sherlock TD, when he started a similar campaign back in 2016 to include Mallow train station in the Leap car fares, thereby reducing fares from that station in Cork as well. The evidence after Deputy Sherlock succeeded in his campaign this year in adding Mallow to the Leap card fares tells its very own story. Passenger numbers have almost doubled from the station. Indeed, from May 2021 to the beginning of September 21, they stood at 44,000. The same figure for this year sees an almost doubling of that figure to 77,000 commuters. I want to welcome the creation, as has already been stated tonight, of a focus group by Newbridge Community Development within the last number of months to advocate for an extension, as I've said before in this House. Indeed, I and colleagues have had numerous conversations with their spokesperson, Jennifer Caffrey, on sharing information and updates from the numerous times that I've raised this matter in this House, and colleagues have supported those calls in the lower house while raising the same issue in their own areas. For the fact remains, as has been already said numerous times tonight, that hard-pressed commuters bypass Newbridge and other Kildare stations and drive to Sallins station in Naas to avail of the short hop fares on a daily basis. Who can blame them? Many of them that I still correspond with on this matter are saving up to €200 a month, Lascaheirlock, by choosing to get into their cars each morning, choosing to drive past their local station in favour of stopping at Sallins station and availing of the short hop zone fares. The result, as anyone that uses the N7 will know, it has simply become a car park. Most mornings the traffic stops at Kill and commuters' cars crawl all the way to Newlands Cross, a journey of 10 minutes that has now taken 40 minutes plus each morning. This is not just a commuter crisis, it is also a climate one. I agree with the wording in the bill before us tonight in that it is necessary to incentivise greater use of public transport in order to meet climate targets as set out in the Climate Action Plan. As currently, cost is prohibiting many commuters who can use the trains to get to their work and appointments. They are using their cars instead, adding to emissions. In August of this year, my colleague Deputy Jed Nash received another reply from the CEO regarding his campaign of fare reductions towards Drogheda. In one of the latest replies from the NTA, the CEO states that the authority recognised that there is a higher base fare outside the short hop zone. The reply, like previous ones, states that the work on examining what needs to be done is ongoing, as has already been said tonight, and that the authority will be examining what the fare foregone, that cost once again, will be to introduce a more equitable system. Most importantly, once again, the reply concludes by saying this will be then presented for funding to government at the next budgetary cycle. Before I finish up, Cathaoirleach, I also want to support the calls by Senator O'Loughlin and indeed Senator Byrne tonight about public toilets on transport. We've all been contacted by commuters from train stations, particularly in Newbridge, and it's not just the public toilets in Newbridge, it's also the infrastructure, and it's taken weeks for that to be solved, but it is unbelievable in this day and age that we don't have public toilets on our transport system like in Newbridge, and that is replicated in many more stations throughout South Kildare and into Portarlington. So in supporting this very important private members' motion tonight, and once again thanking the Fianna Fáil senators for introducing it tonight, Lascaheirlock, we need to be quite clear. The NTA have continuously said that they will not be moving to extend the short hop zone to the stations mentioned in this motion until it receives funding from government. That funding, of course, could be provided by government now. And I was told very recently, in fact yesterday, that the NTA will have to act on getting their report ready faster and more importantly to reduce the fares if they are provided with such funding. Those hard-pressed commuters that I've spoken about earlier need the funding to be provided. The simple fact is, Lascahirlock, as was shown in Mallow, reduce the fares, the commuters will use the trains. No, Senator Wall, thank you.